300 feet below the ocean. No sunlight, no fresh air, no windows. Around 130 sailors sealed inside a steel tube. The same metal walls, the same recycled air, the same faces, over and over. The USS Wyoming, an Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, routinely spends 70 to 90 days underwater on deterrent patrols, completely cut off from the world. No stepping outside, no quick call home, just the low hum of machinery and miles of water overhead. So how do they keep from losing their minds? The answer isn't what you'd expect. These submarine sailors have turned boredom into survival. And some of the ways they fight it are far crazier than you think. Submariners don't live on a normal 24-hour day. Many crews operate on an 18-hour rotation. 6 hours on watch, 6 hours for maintenance and training, 6 hours to eat, unwind, and sleep. Over time, your body loses track of day and night. Morning might feel like midnight. Midnight might feel like noon. When you can't see the sun, time becomes a tool, and submariners use it to stay sane. Research on seafaring and life in a submarine has revealed that long deployments disrupted circadian rhythms, limited social interaction outside the crew, and the sensory deprivation of underwater life can negatively affect mood and cognition over time. This leads to stress and emotional strain. The U.S. Navy has reported around 20 suicides per 100,000 sailors in recent years, as mental health pressures loom over every sailor, whether they're on deck or deep underwater. You might not exactly see boredom in the official military reports as a direct cause of suicide. Instead, the submarine's environment combines monotony and stress, and these eventually lead to the mental health challenges that sailors can face. On December 4, 2019, Machinist's Mate Auxiliary Fireman Gabriel Antonio Romero, assigned to the USS Columbia, shot and killed 2 civilian shipyard workers and then died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound during a shipyard duty at Pearl Harbor. After the Navy investigated, they didn't find any clear motive for the attack, but they found some emotional and social stressors that led up to the incident and shortcomings in how his mental health concerns were handled. Romero had been showing signs of distress and struggled with performance and integration before the tragedy. After all, it's not as easy as you might think to live in a submarine for a long time. In response to concerns like this and general stress among sailors, the Navy is focusing on morale and psychological support. They have recognized that undersea duty is demanding and that sailors benefit from accessible mental health resources and leadership attention. Aside from the formal programs, sailors have found unique ways to fight boredom and stay mentally engaged at the bottom of the ocean. If you've ever wondered how our sailors stay strong during long deployments, drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Physical fitness programs. Keeping sailors physically fit while confined deep underwater is essential, not just for health, but for fighting boredom and stress. Submarines operate in extremely tight quarters where every square inch is accounted for, yet the Navy ensures that they have structured physical fitness options especially for that environment. One way they achieve this is with the Navy Operational Fitness and Fueling System Submarine Series, a program designed to keep sailors mission-ready using minimal space and equipment. All workouts are built for tight compartments with a minimal footprint and maximum effectiveness. Because there is no gym. Instead, sailors get creative. On some boats, a treadmill is wedged between equipment racks. A rowing machine might sit near machinery spaces. Free weights are carefully stowed under torpedo racks, secured so they don't shift when the boat angles or maneuvers. Imagine doing squats while the submarine tilts during a depth change. Others rely entirely on bodyweight circuits and resistance bands. You might see a sailor doing push-ups in a passageway between watch rotations, or a group knocking out a quick high-intensity session in a narrow bay, careful not to block crew movement. And it goes beyond fitness. These workouts break up the monotony, strengthen camaraderie, and keep sailors mentally sharp during patrols that can last 70 to 90 days underwater. Inside a steel tube cut off from the world, exercise becomes a daily reset. On an aircraft carrier, sailors have full gyms with rows of racks and cardio machines. On a submarine, Your gym might be a 3-foot wide passageway. Your weights may be stored under torpedo racks. Every workout must adapt to the mission and the space available. When you haven't seen sunlight in weeks, a 20-minute workout can reset your mindset. During a recent Western Pacific deployment, one junior sailor started a voluntary fitness challenge between divisions. It began with simple bodyweight circuits after watch rotations. Within weeks, nearly half the crew was participating. There were no prizes and no trophies, just bragging rights and something to look forward to during long stretches underwater. By the end of patrol, it had become part of the rhythm of life on board. Submarine crews know this. That's why fitness becomes part of the culture. It keeps them sharp physically and mentally, especially when operating in high-tension regions where every decision matters. But here's what most people don't realize. Exercise is only the beginning, because when you're submerged for months, sailors invent some surprisingly creative ways to stay sane. Movie and entertainment nights. When you live for weeks inside a steel hull with no windows and no fresh air, even something as ordinary as watching a movie can feel like an event. On U.S. Navy submarines, movie nights become more than entertainment. When duty schedules allow and the watch rotation gives crews a few free hours, sailors gather in the mess decks or any available common space to watch films stored on hard drives or shared media systems they carried on board. The same space that serves mid-rats at 0200 transforms into a theater by 1900. Space is tight and seating is limited, but the ritual matters. Submariners don't have theaters, but many boats rig up projectors or communal screens in the crew's mess. Sailors pass along favorite movies before deployment, creating informal libraries that rotate from rack to rack. They dim the lights, push their trays aside, and enjoy a collective downtime in a small metal box underwater where privacy hardly exists. During the Cold War, long before digital streaming, some submarine crews went further, producing their own internal radio shows. Sailors recorded music playlists, mock news broadcasts, comedy sketches, and quiz segments that played over the boat's internal communication system. It was low budget and improvised, but creativity became a weapon against monotony. These broadcasts gave crew members something to anticipate, laugh about, and contribute to. Aside from movie nights, submariner sailors have found ways to make Steel Beach picnics work, even if they can't come out of the vessel. Steel Beach picnics. Few traditions capture submarine culture better than the Steel Beach picnic. This is a moral event when a submarine surfaces in the open ocean and temporarily turns its exterior deck into a makeshift party space. After weeks sealed inside a pressurized hull, breathing recycled air, and living without sunlight, just stepping outside into fresh air will feel extraordinary. When the operational conditions allow and the captain approves it, the crew will secure all the non-essential operations, post safety watches, and carefully open the top hatches. Sailors climb out onto the flat, black hull. That's their Steel Beach. The setup is pretty festive too. The culinary specialists break out grills topside, cooking burgers, hot dogs, or steaks, while music plays over portable speakers. The smell of grilled food mixes with salt air, a scent combination you simply can't recreate underwater. Sailors wear civilian clothes or themed outfits if they're permitted, snap photos, and soak in the sun. Some boats organize push-up contests, trivial games, and light-hearted award ceremonies. Others simply let the sailors relax, laugh, and talk without the constant hum of machinery in the background. Of course, Steel Beach events have to be carefully controlled. The submarine needs to be in a secure area of open water, and armed watchstanders remain posted. Safety lines might be rigged, and no one approaches the edge. Radar and sonar still stand vigilant. Even during a barbecue, the submarine remains a warship. Discipline and security never disappear. The Steel Beach picnic is more than just burgers on a submarine. It's a reminder that beneath the technology, tactics, and torpedoes, there's still a crew of human beings who need sunlight, laughter, and a moment to feel the wind. And then, just as quickly as it began, the grills cool, the music fades, the hatches close, and the submarine slips silently back beneath the surface. In one of the most isolated environments on Earth, gathering together under the open sky helps crews reset before heading back underwater. They also spend time playing games to stay sharp and connected. But before we get into that, like and subscribe for more insights into the US Navy and its underwater fleet. Scheduled games and competitions. When you're living for months inside a steel tube hundreds of feet beneath the ocean, even simple games can become important lifelines for morale and mental health. On a recent 7-month Indo-Pacific deployment in 2025, the crew of USS Alexandria spent months operating beneath the surface, limiting communications and navigating strategic waters while tensions simmered far above. Submarines are stocked with an array of board games, card games, and puzzles, providing sailors a much-needed break from sonar sweeps, maintenance checks, and the constant hum of machinery. Games like cribbage, chess, checkers, or even Monopoly are good ways to inject fun, challenge, and camaraderie into the long stretches of monotony that define undersea life. After 18-hour watch rotations and weeks without seeing sunlight, a simple deck of cards can feel like a connection to the surface world. Many submarines take it further, organizing formal tournaments or weekly competitions, complete with scoreboards, small prizes, and enthusiastic spectators. During that same recent deployment, one crew reportedly ran a silent service championship, tracking wins across multiple games for the entire patrol. The final cribbage match drew half the off-duty crew, squeezed shoulder to shoulder between torpedo racks, whisper cheering so they wouldn't disturb watchstanders. These contests allow sailors to engage in friendly rivalry, testing strategy, memory, and reflexes. A chess match between the navigation and engineering teams or a cribbage showdown during off-duty hours becomes a mental workout and a social anchor, keeping the crew connected despite the isolation. Submarines are confined environments where physical space is limited, so games are portable, low-risk, and inclusive. This offers a way for everyone to participate regardless of rank or specialty. On deployment, rank often disappears at the card table. A junior sailor can dethrone a senior chief with a lucky hand, and for a few minutes, the ocean outside simply doesn't matter. Some crews even create their own variations or improvisational rules, adding humor and a personal touch to standard games. Over time, these small competitions evolve into traditions and even rituals. In fact, submarines have a lot of fun rituals that are passed down as new sailors come in, making it even more fun to stay underwater. Rituals and special events. On submarines, rituals and special events become bright spots that break up the routine and boost morale. These traditions give sailors something to look forward to, transforming the long patrols into shared experiences. One ritual that happens in submarines is Halfway Night, a celebration that happens in the middle of a deployment. The crew gathers for a significantly better meal than usual, like lobster tails, prime rib, or strip steaks, and then they pair it with light-hearted festivities like pie auctions. There, sailors bid to throw a dessert at a shipmate, or the auction special privileges that like sitting in the captain's chair for a meal. At the broader service level, submariners also honor their identity and heritage with events like the Submarine Birthday Ball. This is a formal celebration held annually where active, reserve, and retired sailors come together to recognize the history of silent service. On patrol, other rituals include steel beach picnics and the occasional swim call when conditions permit. When the boat surfaces, the crew grills food on the hull and sailors enjoy fresh air. Before meals and parties, they have some time-honored naval traditions, like line-crossing rites when they pass the equator. This is a form of initiation that has existed in naval culture for centuries and gives sailors a sense of shared history. For junior sailors on their first deployment, becoming a shellback isn't just a joke-filled ceremony. It marks their transformation from newcomer to seasoned submariner. In a community built on trust and tight quarters, shared rites like this build bonds that last entire careers. These rituals and games help break up the routine of sleeping, eating, and standing watch. Beyond that, submariners are known for harmless pranks that keep morale high and life underwater interesting. So what kinds of pranks keep them laughing beneath the waves? Storytellings and pranks. To make life aboard a submarine even more interesting, there's a culture of humor, pranks, and shared stories that keep the sailors sane and connected. Sailors often turn to storytelling and lighthearted mischief to break up monotony and foster camaraderie. Inside jokes and humorous traditions are a part of submarine life, and they often share their stories about deployments, strange maintenance tasks, or even the quirks of daily life. It gives the crew members something to laugh about long after a patrol ends. Pranks are a big part of that culture. Submariners have already come up with different tricks because they spend so much time confined together. One classic prank involves asking a new sailor to fetch fictitious parts, like relative bearing grease. This sends them running around the submarine on a wild goose chase before revealing that there's no such thing. New sailors might be sent looking for a sonar sound sample kit or a battery gravity adjuster, only realizing later that the entire control room is quietly in on the joke. Another old joke sends a sailor to retrieve a non-existent mail buoy out on the open ocean, a prank that plays on the unique conditions of submarine life where regular mail truly isn't an option. There are also lighter gags like applying shoe polish to a periscope eyepiece or sound-peered telephone, and it always gets unexpected reactions. But fighting boredom on a submarine isn't only about fun, as the sailors also read and learn in their free time as a way to support their mental health and learning. When sailors catch a moment off duty, one of the most meaningful ways they fill the time is with reading and learning. Space is limited aboard a submarine, so sailors can't bring stacks of books like they might on land. But the U.S. Navy equips many boats with Navy e-reader devices loaded with hundreds of titles, ranging from classics to professional reading material, giving crews access to books without bulky paper copies. These devices are specially designed for submarines because there's no internet access or storage space. Reading aboard a submarine is a way to maintain mental engagement, expand knowledge, and break up the monotony of long patrols. Sailors often read everything from novels and history books to technical manuals and strategy texts that help them sharpen skills relevant to their roles. Many submariners now use off-watch hours to complete online college courses stored on internal networks, qualify in new watch stations, or train in virtual simulators, turning long patrols into opportunities for advancement. On some recent deployments, crews have even organized informal fitness competitions in passageways barely wide enough for two people to pass. Before digital options became widely available, submariners brought paperback books aboard and even maintained small physical libraries that circulated among the crew. But here's the twist. Sailors find ways to fight boredom and have fun during months underwater. But it is not all games. Most of their time is filled with watch standing, drills, and constant training. With that pressure, the Navy must actively support sailors' mental health. So how does the Navy keep its crews steady beneath the surface? Mental health support. On U.S. Navy submarines, sailors spend long stretches isolated from sunlight, family, and the world above. So mental health support is taken seriously as part of overall readiness and resilience. The unique environment of a submarine can strain even the toughest sailors, so the Navy has developed layers of support that begin long before a patrol and extend into daily life both ashore and at sea. During recent extended deterrent patrols, such as ballistic missile submarine deployments supporting U.S. Strategic Command in 2023 to 2024, crews operated for months amid heightened global tensions, demonstrating how psychological endurance is just as critical as reactor reliability or weapons readiness. One key component is the psychological screening and readiness programs designed specifically for submarine duty. The Naval Submarine Medical Research Laboratory, NSMRL, works on tools like SubScreen and its modern successor SubFit to assess sailors for psychological fitness before they go to sea, and to give leaders and individuals information that supports resilience in the demanding undersea environment. Although there are no dedicated mental health professionals physically aboard a submarine when it is underway, the Navy prepares crews through leadership training. This teaches commanding officers, chiefs, and independent duty corpsmen how to recognize signs of stress, irritability, anxiety, or declining well-being in their shipmates. On a submarine, a subtle change in mood, sleep patterns, or watch-standing performance can be the first indicator of strain. And early intervention can prevent small issues from becoming mission-impacting problems. Modern deployments have further emphasized peer accountability and deckplate leadership. For example, crews aboard fast-attack submarines deployed to the Indo-Pacific in 2024 operated under increased operational tempo, requiring leaders to actively monitor crew fatigue, morale, and cohesion in high-demand environments. In addition, submariners now have access to telehealth resources while in port, embedded resilience training, chaplain support, and confidential counseling services before and after patrols, reinforcing the idea that psychological fitness is not a one-time screening, but a continuous process throughout a sailor's career. In the silent service, resilience is not optional. It is a mission requirement. Just as submarines are engineered with redundant systems to survive battle damage, the Navy builds layered psychological support systems to ensure sailors remain steady, focused, and mission-ready beneath the waves. Could you handle months without sunlight, limited space, and constant responsibility deep underwater? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If this video gave you a new appreciation for our servicemen and women, smash that like button and subscribe for more content honoring our military. We'll see you in the next one.